In a remote village surrounded by dense forests and echoing rivers, there lived a man named Tari. To the outside world, Tari appeared to be an ordinary farmer, humble and hardworking. But beneath his calm exterior lay a man burdened by frustration, pride, and a sense of failure he dared not admit. Tari had a family he cherished: his wife Mola, 2 sons full of promise, and his only daughter, Sora. Sora was the light of their home, her laughter as bright as the morning sun and her voice as sweet as the songs of the village birds. But Tari's love for his daughter was tainted by an undercurrent of control and fear. Sora had grown into a spirited young woman with dreams that stretched far beyond the confines of their small village. She would sit by the river, weaving stories of adventure and freedom. "One day, I'll leave this place, Father," she'd say with a spark in her eyes. "There's a world out there waiting for me." Tari would listen, his face stern, and reply, "A daughter's place is with her family. Your dreams are foolish, Sora. Stay here where you belong." But Sora's spirit was unyielding, and this only fueled Tari's frustration. He had already lost the respect of his wealthier friends and neighbors, and now his own daughter seemed determined to defy him. One fateful day, Sora's determination reached its peak. She announced to her family, "I've decided. I'm leaving the village to seek a better life. I'll return with stories and success, and I'll make you all proud." Tari's heart sank. The thought of losing her to the unknown, of watching her leave the safety of their home, filled him with rage. He saw her decision as a betrayal, a rejection of everything he had worked so hard to provide. "You will do no such thing." Tari thundered, his voice shaking the walls of their modest home. But Sora stood her ground. "I'm not a child anymore, Father. I deserve to live my own life." In a blind fury, Tari's mind clouded. He saw her defiance as a challenge, a blow to his authority. Without thinking, he grabbed a heavy wooden pestle, an object he used daily to pound grains in the courtyard, and stormed toward Sora. "Father, what are you doing?" Sora cried, her voice trembling with fear. Tari's anger consumed him. "You think you can defy me? You'll learn your place today." In a fit of rage, Tari swung the pestle, striking the ground near Sora. The force of his anger sent dust and grains flying, but he didn't stop. Overwhelmed by a storm of emotions, anger, fear, and regret, he pounded the earth, shouting, "You will not leave this house. You will obey me." Sora fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Father, please, I'm not your enemy. I only want to make you proud." Tari froze. Her words pierced through his anger, and the reality of his actions began to sink in. He dropped the pestle, his hands trembling. The courtyard was silent except for Sora's quiet sobs. Mola, who had witnessed everything, stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "Tari, look at what you've done. Your pride and fear have blinded you. Is this how you show love to your only daughter?" Tari collapsed onto the ground, his heart heavy with shame. He looked at Sora, who sat trembling before him, and whispered, "I'm sorry. I let my fear control me. I don't want to lose you." Sora, though shaken, reached out and held her father's hand. "I'll always be your daughter, Father. But you have to let me live my life." From that day forward, Tari vowed to change. He learned to let go of his fears and support Sora's dreams, even if it meant facing his own insecurities. And though their journey as a family was far from perfect, they began to rebuild their bond on a foundation of trust and understanding. In a quiet village nestled at the edge of a vast forest, there lived a man named Tari, known for his resilience and determination. He worked tirelessly to provide for his family, his loving wife Mola, their 2 strong sons, and their only daughter, Sora, whose beauty and charm were the pride of the family. Tari's life was simple but difficult. Each day, he toiled under the scorching sun on farms that were not his own, his rough hands and aching back testament to his labor. He believed his hard work would protect his family and keep them together, even when the wealthy villagers looked down on him. But Tar's heart bore a hidden storm. His pride, bruised by years of struggle, and his fear of failure often surfaced in ways he could not control. His biggest challenge came not from the fields he walked on, but from within his own home. Sora, his only daughter, had grown into a strong-willed young woman. Her dreams soared beyond the horizons of their small village. She longed for independence and adventure, often speaking of a life where she could carve her own path. "Father, I'm not meant to stay here forever," Sora would say. "There's a world out there calling my name." Tar, however, was bound by tradition and his own insecurities. "A daughter belongs with her family," he would retort. "Your place is here, Sora. Stop filling your head with such nonsense." One fateful evening, after weeks of heated arguments, Sora made her announcement. "Father, I've decided. Tomorrow, I'm leaving the village. I'll find work in the city and build a better life." Her words struck Tar like a thunderclap. The thought of losing her, of seeing her walk away from the life he had struggled to hold together, ignited a fire of rage within him. "You dare defy me?" he roared, his voice shaking the walls of their modest home. Sora met his gaze, her eyes unwavering. "I'm not defying you, Father. I'm choosing my own destiny." Tar's vision blurred with anger and desperation. His pride, his fear of losing control, and his deep love for his daughter all clashed within him. In his fury, he reached for the heavy pestle he used daily to grind grain, a symbol of his labor and authority. "What are you doing, Father?" Sora cried, stepping back in alarm. "You'll stay here," Tar bellowed, his voice trembling with emotion. "I'll make sure you never forget where you belong." He raised the pestle high, intending to strike the ground in front of her as a warning. But his rage clouded his judgment, and the pestle struck the earth with such force that it cracked the stone floor, sending a spray of dust into the air. Sora froze, her breath hitching as tears welled in her eyes. "Father, this isn't love. This is fear. Why can't you trust me?" Molo, who had been silently watching the confrontation, stepped between them. "Tar, stop this madness," shouted. "You're not protecting her, you're destroying her spirit." Tar's grip on the pestle faltered. The weight of his wife's words and the look of betrayal in Sora's eyes shattered the storm within him. He dropped the pestle to the ground, his shoulders slumping under the burden of his emotions. I just don't want to lose you, Sora," he whispered, his voice breaking. Sora, though shaken, stepped forward and placed a hand on her father's arm. "You'll never lose me, Father. But you have to let me go. Let me prove to you that I can make you proud." Tar sank to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "Forgive me, my child. I was blinded by my own fears." From that day forward, Tar began to change. He learned to let go of his pride and fear, supporting Sora's dreams instead of stifling them. Though their journey as a family was fraught with challenges, they rebuilt their bond with trust, love, and understanding. And when Sora finally left the village, it was not with anger or resentment, but with her father's blessing and the knowledge that she would always have a home to return to. In a village surrounded by dense forest and untold mysteries, there lived a man named Tar. A humble farmer, Tar's days were spent under the scorching sun, working tirelessly for meager pay. His hands were calloused, his back bent with years of labor, but his spirit remained unbroken. Tar's family was his treasure. His wife, Molo, was his partner in every struggle, a woman of wisdom and strength. Together, they had 3 children, but it was their youngest, their daughter Amora, who was the light of their lives. Amora's laughter filled their small home with joy, and her dreams were larger than the village itself. One fateful day, as the harvest season came to a close, Tar received an invitation from Chief Azuka, the wealthiest man in the village. Chief Azuka was a figure of both respect and fear, known for his vast lands and his mysterious dealings. Ta, hopeful for an opportunity, decided to visit him. When Ta arrived at the chief's grand home, he was greeted with an unexpected warmth. Chief Azuka invited him to sit and share a meal, a rare gesture from a man of his status. As they ate, the chief leaned in, his voice low and deliberate. Ta, he began, you've worked hard all your life. But hard work alone won't change your fate. There's another way, a chance to gain wealth beyond your imagination. No more struggle, no more toil. Ta's heart raced at the chief's words. What are you saying, Chief Azuka? How can I gain such wealth? The chief smiled, reaching into his robe to reveal a bundle of money. He placed it on the table before Ta. This is just a taste of what's possible. All you need to do is visit a wise man at the edge of the forest. He will guide you through a ritual, no bloodshed, no harm, just a simple act to unlock your fortune. Ta's hands trembled as he held the money, more than he had ever seen in his life. Why are you offering this to me? He asked, suspicion creeping into his voice. Chief Azuka's smile widened. Because you've earned it, Ta. You've proven your loyalty and dedication. Take this money, think it over, and decide. But remember, opportunities like this don't come often. Ta left the chief's house that evening, his mind in turmoil. When he returned home, Mola noticed the bundle of money and the unease in her husband's eyes. Where did this come from, Ta? She asked, her voice filled with concern. He explained everything, the offer, the ritual, and the promise of wealth. Mola listened intently, her expression growing more troubled with each word. Ta, she said softly, we've always lived with honesty and dignity. This offer sounds too good to be true. Be careful. Wealth gained without effort often comes at a price. Ta nodded, her words resonating in his heart. But as the days passed, the allure of the money and the promise of a better future for his family grew too strong to ignore. One evening, he made his decision. Mola, he said, I've thought it through. I'll go to the forest tomorrow and meet this wise man. I'll do it for our family, for our children's future. Mola's eyes filled with worry, but she didn't protest. Promise me you'll come back safe, she whispered. I promise, Ta replied, holding her tightly. The next morning, Ta set out for the edge of the forest. The path was shrouded in mist, and the towering trees seemed to whisper secrets as he walked. At last, he arrived at a small hut, where an old man with a long white beard and piercing eyes awaited him. Oh, Ta, the old man said, Chief Azuka told me you'd come. Are you ready to change your destiny? Ta nodded, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. Yes, I am ready. The old man led him to a clearing in the forest, where a circle of stones marked the ground. Strange symbols were etched into the soil, glowing faintly in the dim light. This ritual will grant you wealth, the old man said, handing Ta a small bowl of dark oil. Rub this oil on your hands and repeat the words I chant. But remember, nothing in life comes without a cost. Ta hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Finally, he dipped his hands into the oil and began to follow the old man's chant. As the ritual unfolded, the air grew heavy, and the forest seemed to close in around them. The symbols on the ground flared brightly, and a strange energy coursed through Ta's body. Suddenly, a vision flashed before his eyes: his family, his village, his entire life, but it was twisted, distorted, consumed by greed and despair. He saw himself surrounded by riches but utterly alone, his loved ones gone. Ta stumbled back, breaking the ritual. What is this? What did you show me? He demanded. The old man's expression turned solemn. That is the price of your greed, Ta. Wealth without effort will cost you everything you hold dear. Realizing the truth, Ta fell to his knees, the weight of his choices crashing down on him. He abandoned the ritual and fled the forest, vowing never to let greed blind him again. When he returned home, he embraced his wife and children, tears streaming down his face. "I nearly lost everything," he confessed. "But I see now that true wealth lies in the love and happiness we share." From that day on, Ta walked with renewed purpose, cherishing every moment with his family. Though they remained poor in material wealth, their home was rich with laughter, love, and unity. And in the end, Ta learned that the greatest fortune was already his. Thank you for watching this gripping story. The tale doesn't end here, there's so much more to uncover. Stay tuned for part 2, where we reveal what happens next in this incredible journey. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from, we'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter of this story. Hit the bell icon to stay notified. See you in the next video.